Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder. Saturday, 1st of September, AD 2012. This video's got, I'm trying to pull a lot of different little pieces together from all the things I've read, studied, thought about, talked about, asked questions about. Other people have asked questions. And bring it back together and say, okay, well, what does it all mean, right? And vacated offices and other defects in due process. Right? Our biggest problem is we're not getting due process. Well, if we're not getting due process, then that's a defect. So what is there we can do about it? And in here, we're going to talk about things about invalid oaths, right? And how that we should be making it known. How we might do that. How you might do it in court. Vacated offices. For various reasons, one being because they've taken an invalid oath. They haven't taken the correct oath and refused to take the correct oath, and they've vacated the office. That could be a judge, treasurer, county clerk, whomever. So even though you may see an oath, I've got many copies of oaths, right? I'm going to say they're invalid, and I'll show you why here in a bit. In the jurisdiction of various political divisions. There's numerous political divisions within the nation of America. They have different jurisdictions as far as the form of law that they're governed by. And you can choose which one you'd rather be governed by. The one you can live with, the one that, is common law, the unwritten law of reason. As long as I don't harm somebody or his property, there really isn't a controversy. Right? So, and I can only be sued by a living man. Somebody needs to come forward and take an oath, provide evidence, go before a jury. All that stuff still exists in the right jurisdiction. But the offices may be vacated. Although there's somebody sitting there now with an office, in that office, who thinks he holds the office, but he has an invalid oath. So all these things tie together. And I'll try to, hopefully we'll see when this is all done, how the law was written to cause defects and to cure the defect. So as much as I hate to ask, I have to. If you can donate, please do. If you would like to send it by the mail, I'd like it if you would put it in an envelope addressed like this: Elector Ritlewski, about 5 spaces, Robert-Allen, care of His Embassy Sanctuary, 14 Mile Road Northeast, 10955, the Elemental Republic of Oakfield, 49341-8664-55. And as you'll find out, you could really just do an envelope with the zip code, the 11-digit number there, and they would deliver it to you. I know if you put your name on it and do that, they will. Bobby in Arizona has done numerous different kinds. So if you could please mail a donation, you would mail it there. And then the PayPal account is ashleyritlewski@gmail.com. That is the PayPal account. So enough on that. Anyways, they will deliver it to you when it looks like that, because they delivered this one to me. Me and a few of the other guys have been just seeing, well, what can we get them to mail to us, right? So I called myself Lord Ritlewski on this one. And the reason I did is because they always call you Mr. Ritlewski, right? And Mr. is it's an office in the military, right? Like Mr. Christian. He was on a frickin' ship, for God's sakes. Or Lord Chamberlain isn't on a ship. Lord Chamberlain tells Officer Mr. Christian what to do. And on various documents you'll see they look for you to put your name this way: last name first, first and second. I think that's the way they signify the living man in their system. And I say that because I have it on my certificate of live, certified copy of record of live birth that way. And it came to me in a little envelope that on the front was just my first and middle name, Robert Allen. It said name, Robert Allen. And in there was this certified copy of record of birth. I've shared it before. It's online. And when I heard the story of Steve in Texas, who him and some other brothers submitted some paperwork to the Pope. The Pope didn't respond, so he took his copy and went and found a Jesuit at a college. It said, hey, brother, we sent this to the Pope. He didn't respond to it. The guy looked it over and apparently signed it and put a seal on it, put it in an envelope, and he wrote Steve's first and middle name on it. And Steve said, well, where's the last name? And he says, that is your name. Excellent. And one of the things that what they were trying to do was get their name off the baptismal roll. So a couple of weeks later, Steve went to the church where he would have been baptized in and asked to see the baptismal records, and lo and behold, he wasn't in there. The rest of his family was, but he wasn't. And they said, well, this is highly unusual. They said, did you happen to get married in a Catholic church? And he did. He said, well, go there. We would have sent them a certified copy. So he went to the church where he had been married, and guess what? They didn't have a copy either. The man had been taken off the rolls, off the baptismal rolls. So, and then I put on here an unincorporated federal district. Now, why do I do this? Well, because the post office just agreed by canceling the stamp that that's where I am. I have evidence that I'm in the unincorporated federal district. I have reasons that I want to be there. Some people don't agree. They don't want to be in the federal district. Well, okay. I'm going to try to explain why. I think that you do. And if you don't afterwards, well, no harm, no foul. So let's look at these vacated offices. So in the Michigan compiled laws, it says every office shall become vacant upon the happening of the following: his ceasing to be an inhabitant of the state, or if the office be local, district, county, township, city, of which he has been appointed. So you need to be seen as an inhabitant of the political subdivision that you're going to be part of. So if you want to be a township officer, you need to be an inhabitant of the township. And that's something that you choose by choosing your domicile. Another one is his refusal or neglect to take his oath of office. And it was an earlier one that says the oath of office says this comes out of the 1963 Constitution, Oath of Public Officers, Section 1, where it says, all officers, legislative, executive, and judicial, before entering upon the duties of their respective office, shall take and subscribe the following oath or affirmation. So what does the Constitution of Michigan say that if you want to be an officer here, that you need to take? Well, this is it. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of whatever the office is according to the best of my ability. Okay? It doesn't say so help me God at the end. It doesn't say I, Robert Allen Rytlewski. No, it says I, because I am that I am. If I said I am Robert Allen Rytlewski, I just gave myself an inferior title or status, and I'm not going to do that. And they didn't write it so you had to. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state. It doesn't say the state of Michigan, it says the Constitution of this state. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of according to the best of my ability. Well, here's what they take in the township. And they put their name in. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Michigan. Well, as we just saw, that ain't what this says. You don't put your name in there, and it's not the state of Michigan, it's the Constitution of the state. The duties of supervisor in and for the township of Oakfield, county of Kent, state of Michigan, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Well, that is not the Constitution that they need to take. And so if they refuse or neglect to take this oath, they don't hold the office. And so they have a deficiency. They took the wrong oath. No other oath, affirmation, or religious test shall be required as qualification for any office or public trust. Okay? Whoops. Wrong one. This don't make it. this is not the oath, although it says Oakfield Township Oath of Office. It's not the one prescribed by the Constitution, which is very simple. There ain't no comma, there's no name there. I do solemnly swear, because I am that I am. And then you're going to subscribe this when you're done, right? But this is the words you will speak. The U.S. Constitution, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and members of the several states legislature, and all executive judicial officers, both the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support of this Constitution. But no religious test shall ever be required, qualification of any office of public trust under the United States. Okay, so this is for all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states. Okay? Now those are the organized states, right? State of Michigan, state of Ohio, yada, yada, yada. That's what those are. Or if they work for the federal government and they are in the executive or judicial branch. They'll say about the administrative branch for some reason. Oh, I guess so. State legislatures. Yep. Which is I. And now you can see they got name in a bracket. I don't think that's supposed to be there. Right? Things in boxes aren't supposed to be on paper. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear truth, faith, allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of which I am about to enter. And again, bracketed, so help me God. Those, no sentence structure much better than me. What's it mean when it's in a bracket like that? Is that signifying that it's not there? Because if you go look at an oath and it has names written in there, then they didn't take the oath per the Constitution. Therefore, the office is vacant. They don't have any judicial power. That'd be my number one thing on a piece of paper if I was putting in an answer to something. This says if they're this says if they are a all executive judicial officers, both of the. So this would be state judges and federal judges, but not necessarily county judges, because the county is a subdivision. And I'm thinking this is the one they're going to take up here. These are the ones for within the state of Michigan. So, and I'm going to skim through this stuff really quick here, but we've talked about this before. What makes a qualified elector? Any person who possesses the qualification of elector as prescribed in Section 1, Article 2, State Constitution, reside in the city for 30 days, right? So first of all, you got to reside in the city for 30 days to be a qualified elector. And qualifications of electors was this: every citizen of the United States who has attained the age of 21, who has resided in the state 6 months, and meets requirements of local residence 30 days provided by law, shall be an elector and qualified to vote in any election except as otherwise provided in this Constitution. Okay, so you want to be an elector. You don't want to be a voter. They're using the word elector for a reason. An elector of a township have the right to vote in all matters questioned before the township meeting of the electors, right? Didn't say of the council, it said of the electors. The council's just there to administer the orders of the electors. The electors vote on the law, agree what they want, they give it to the council to administrate. That's how it's supposed to work. There's another state law, and I don't think I have it on here, that says, however, right, if there are no electors available, the township board can do it. And why this is so important. Okay, let me get to this real quick. Now we're going to talk about being an inhabitant, right? And the difference between the two is this simple. If you're in an organized county, it shall be a body politic and corporate, right? That all the organized counties are a body politic and corporate. Purchase and hold real and personal estate for the use of the county. It doesn't say you. And what do they consider county property? all real and personal estate heretofore conveyed by any form of conveyance to the inhabitants of the county. So if you say that you are part of the organized county, that you inhabit the organized county, then it shall be deemed the property of, to be the property of the county. It's why you need to change your status. You need to change where your inhabitant resides. And so inhabitants of an organized township as a body corporate, right? Doesn't say body politic, just a body corporate. The inhabitants of an organized township are a body corporate and have, in addition to their other powers that are conferred, all the following powers and duties: to sue and be sued and appoint necessary agents and attorneys for that purpose. So as far as I'm concerned, I can appoint the board to be my agents and attorney. I've tried to do that and they didn't like it very much. They got kind of upset. That just means I had a nerve. I'm onto something, right? It doesn't mean anything other than, oh, that made them act different. And the township board, may investigate any matter that is under the jurisdiction of the township, authority vested in the township, or officer under this act. Okay, so what they are is they're a court of inquiry. They can inquire because they can investigate, and they also are an administrative court because they administer the orders of the electors. So if you think about a city hall meeting or township hall, whatever it is, got these yahoos sitting up there. The guy with the gavel's the presiding judge in a court of law, and the other people make up a jury. Some of them up there aren't, they don't have a vote, right? And that's all you're doing in a jury is you're voting on yay or nay, guilty or not, yes or no to the ordinance. The problem is none of them have taken the correct oath, so they're not really holding an office, and all their offices are vacated, so they can't pass any ordinances. And so because they haven't taken the proper oath, they don't have any frickin' sovereign immunity. If they didn't take the oath prescribed by the Constitution, right, they haven't taken the right oath. Inhabitant means a resident of a city, township, village, district, or county. And then if you go to resident, you'll find out that resident can be a corporation. Well, so it's not that you, the immortal living soul, are the inhabitant. You're going to put your body corporate, your landed estate, into the township so that it's seen as that's where it's at. You're going to have it recorded in the township. That's why you want to register as an elector, because right now you're registered as a child, and a child can't own property. You can't have an estate, it needs to have a guardian. But if you register as an elector is over 21. Being over 21 makes you age of majority. You can be a landowner, and you can control your own estate. But you have to decide what form of law you're going to live under. Or not live under, live with, right? And the very best one that there is the one in the territory, Article 4 courts, because it's all by organic law, which is the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, I believe. Up here, the Northwest Ordinance, and in the Northwest Ordinance it says, that the Articles of Confederation are in play. Those are the organic laws of the territory. And if you choose to inhabit in the territory, in the township, under federal jurisdiction, those are the laws that you are governed by and that others are governed by. And that means nobody can bring a false charge against you. It has to be a plaintiff under oath who brings a charge. Okay, and then this is just more stuff about these meetings. I don't know there was that much more in here. I don't really want to spend much time on that because we got some other stuff to talk about. So, what's a political division? Political divisions of the United States describe the various subnational entities that together form the United States. Okay, so we have subnational entities that all together form the United States. Well, the Supreme Court has said one of the definitions of the United States is a sovereign, so that's you. Okay? So you're a subnational entity, a sovereign. The United States federal and state governments operate within the system of parallel sovereignty. Okay, so the states have sovereignty, and so do the United States federal. So you have sovereignty because you are a United State. So the states are not technically divisions created from the United States, but rather units that together with the federal district and other territories administered by the federal government compose the United States. So you and all the territory compose the United States, if it's in a federal district or other territories. Now states, as in organized states, are typically subdivided into counties. It's as small as it goes. States go to counties. Counties and county equivalent may further be subdivided into townships. Are created equivalent to townships by the United States Census Bureau. The towns and townships are used as subdivisions of a county in 20 states. Okay. The population centers may be organized as incorporated cities, towns, villages. So it could be incorporated, could be cities, could be towns, could be villages. And other types of municipalities. Municipalities are typically subordinate to the county government with some exceptions, as we'll see. Certain cities, for example, have consolidated with their county government as consolidated city counties. Okay, so that's one way. However, in Virginia, cities are completely independent from the county in which they would otherwise be part. They're under federal law, man. The cities have nothing to do with the state. They're not part of the state government. Therefore, neither are townships, neither are villages, districts. So outside of the states, so outside of you, other subdivisions include the federal district, insular areas, and those are islands, administered by the federal government, and American Indian reservations. The federal government also maintains exclusive jurisdiction over military installations, American embassies, consulates. That's why I call mine an embassy. Located in foreign countries. I'm located in a foreign county, a county of an organized state, and where I'm at's foreign to their jurisdiction. That's why I said it was an embassy sanctuary. And the 11-digit zip code, which is really, it's your zip code, and then everybody has a +4, right? And that +4 gets you within 100 lots of your particular lot. And then the last two numbers, like the -55 on mine, that's just the last two digits of your house number. And that identifies a distinct territory that's been surveyed. Right? So it's a survey of the land. And I don't see anything wrong with using it. I want everything to do with the land. So, I'm saying that you want to find me, that's how you can find me. And I'm going to say on my letters that it's the unincorporated federal district or something similar. And once they put the post office puts their seal on it, right? They agree that they found me, so they can't say I wasn't there. They've delivered me my mail. Okay. And then, so this is the biggie. So here's really what I'm talking about. There's a certain kind of court. They're called legislative courts, Article 1 court. These are courts set up by Article 1 of the Constitution, U.S. Constitution. Legislative courts, so-called because they were created by Congress in pursuance of general legislative powers, have comprised a significant part of the federal judiciary. You have to excuse me just. Oh, is it working? It says it is. Okay. Um, so they are um, created by the Congress. Okay, these legislative courts are created by the Congress. The distinction between constitutional courts and legislative courts was first made in America, whatever, which involved the question of admiralty jurisdiction of a territorial court of Florida. So it's a territorial court. The judges of which were limited to 4-year terms of office. So that would be like a justice of the peace. So these administrative courts have judges that are appointed for 4 years. And they're Florida territorial courts. Chief Justice Marshal of the court, these courts then are not constitutional courts in which judicial power conferred by the Constitution on general government can be deposited. They are incapable of receiving it because they're not over a general government. They are legislative courts created in virtue of the general right of sovereignty which exists in the government, or in virtue of that clause which enables Congress to make needful rules and regulations respecting territory belonging to the United States. Your townships and cities are territories, and they have Article 1 courts. So they fall under federal jurisdiction. And apparently the people holding these offices haven't taken an oath. So they have a deficiency. Their office has been vacated. The jurisdiction with which they are invested is not part of the judicial power which is defined in the 3rd article of the Constitution. So they're not Article 3 courts. But is conferred by Congress in its execution of those general powers which that body possesses over the territories of the United States. Again, these courts are in the territories. The court went on to hold that admiralty jurisdiction can be exercised in the states, the organized states, only in those courts which are established in pursuance to Article 3, but that the same limitation does not apply to the territorial courts. For in legislating for them, Congress exercises the combined power of general and state government. One aspect of federal jurisdiction is the extent of the federal legislative power. Under the Constitution, Congress has power to legislate only in areas that are delegated to it. Under Clause 17, Article 1, Section A of the Constitution, however, Congress has the power to exercise exclusive legislation in cases whatsoever over the federal district, in parentheses Washington, D.C., there may be more, and other territories ceded to the federal government by the states, small s states, that would be us, such as for military installations or embassies. So I'm ceding mine over to the federal government to be an embassy. Federal jurisdiction is said to exist over such territory. Excellent. I'm under federal jurisdiction. Territories of the United States are one of 4 types of political divisions in the United States, overseen directly by the federal government of the United States and are not part of the U.S. state. So they're not part of you. They're the territory upon which you reside. These territories were created to govern newly acquired land while the borders of the United States were still evolving. Territories can be classified by whether they are incorporated, so they're a part of a United States proper, and whether they have an organized government through an organic act, such as the Northwest Ordinance, passed by U.S. Congress, or a territorial constitution and functioning legislature. Okay, so maybe that's Arizona, Bobby, right? Do you have a territorial constitution? You sent me some really good stuff on the territory of Arizona. You probably have a territorial constitution. And there is a functioning government because somebody has taken the right oath, right? It just ain't some of the yahoos we're talking to. Now, Bobby, here's an interesting thing. Bobby in Arizona is doing a traffic case, and he put in a criminal complaint. It generated a meeting with the prosecutor. The prosecutor, wanted to poo-poo it off, so Bobby says, well, I accept your oath, bind you to it, remind you have a fiduciary duty. And his answer was, well, which one? He's got more than one oath. Well, you can only serve one master. So, say this one. The constitutional oath that you're going to find in your state constitution. If it's a federal officer, it's in the federal constitution. If it's a judge, it's a federal constitutional. Even the state judges take a federal constitutional oath. So really, they're all under the jurisdiction of the federal government. And that's real powerful to know, because we can complain about that. Political division is a term of art, of geography, defining the concept of a geographical region accepted to be in the jurisdiction of a particular government entity. Okay, so it's a, geographical region's a territory. So a territory accepted to be in the jurisdiction of a particular government entity. Okay, well, I'm going to say it's a organized government, which is the township is organized government, through the Organic Act, which is Northwest Ordinance. I can live with those organic laws. Unincorporated territory is a legal term of art in the United States law, denoting an area controlled by the government of the United States, but which is not part of the United States proper. Okay? So unincorporated territory is in the United States. It's an area controlled by the government of the United States, but which is not part of the United States proper. So it's not part of the organized states, is how I see that. An insular area, this is another one of the political divisions, is a United States territory that is neither a part of one of the 50 states, so it's not one of the organized states, nor the District of Columbia, so it's not in the District of Columbia. That's a particular piece of land, the federal district of the U.S. So if you look at the way this thing is written, after it says an insular area is the United States territory, comma, and then you don't see another comma till the federal district of the U.S., you could take out that shit in the middle, and it would read, an insular area is the United States territory, the federal district of the U.S. Right? That's what you're in. They are called insular for the Latin word island, because they were once administered by the War Department. The United States territory includes any geography under the control of the United States. So a territory of geography, right? So it's a territory and it's under the federal government. That includes various regions, districts, and divisions are under the supervision of the United States federal government. The United States territory include clearly defined, again, territories, and refers to an area of land, air, or sea under the jurisdiction of the United States federal government. All these are lowercase federal governments. Authority, but not limited only to these areas. The extent of the territory is all areas belonging to and under the dominion of the United States of America, small f federal government, which includes tracts at a distance from the country for administration and other purposes. So, they're talking about you being in Germany or something having a problem, right? If you're actually considered your body's part of the U.S. territory and it's under federal law and nobody better mess with it. Small f federal law is just the law of nations. It's the organic laws. It's the best kind of law you can find. If you don't like that, you can go live in the woods and eat fruits and nuts. But if you want to be part of a community, you're going to have to agree to a certain set of laws. And right now, because we've checked boxes in the past, we've agreed to be in the wrong frickin' jurisdiction. All I'm saying is we want to go back to these insular areas. A township is an insular area. A city is an insular area, right? It's its own little island. And it's surrounded by, a foreign nation. Once you claim it as your island, it's surrounded by a foreign nation. It just became your embassy. Because those insular areas are inhabited, because those insular areas that are inhabited are unincorporated territories, the native-born inhabitants are not constitutionally entitled to United States citizenship under the Citizenship Clause. So, when I was born, according to my certificate of live birth, it the information was given to the local registrar. And when I look up the local registrar's name and did a Google search, it showed that he was not only was he the local registrar, his other hat was the city clerk for the city of Bay City. Right, so I was born into a territory because a city is a federal territory. I'm natural born inhabitant. And I cannot constitutionally become a United States citizen. However, Congress has extended citizenship rights to all inhabited territories except America Samoa. Excellent. They say you can't be one, yet they'll give you the right to do so. And so if you're a native born inhabitant and you become a United States citizen, you just did an unconstitutional act, man. You committed treason. So let's pay attention to America Samoa. So in America, except America Samoa, and these citizens may vote and run for office in any U.S. jurisdiction, which they are residents. So as they're saying, there's many different jurisdictions. However, the people of America Samoa are U.S. nationals, but not U.S. citizens. They are free to move around and seek employment within the whole United States without immigration restrictions, but cannot vote or hold office outside of America Samoa. Okay, so if you want to vote, you're going to you can only do it through your township, but you'll be an elector. You won't be voting for an elector. You'll be voting for law. And you can't hold office outside of there, so you couldn't be higher than the township administrator or supervisor, which is fine also. So your township is a lot like America Samoa, or could be. America Samoa doesn't have a Article 1 or Article 3 court. It doesn't have an Article 3 court. It's got a territorial court. And you'll find out the U.S. small d district courts are all territorial courts. A territory under the control of the federal government is considered part of the United States for the purpose of law. Okay? All territory under the is part of the United States. We're all part of the United States. However, the court in such cases established doctrine of territorial incorporation in which the Constitution applies fully only in incorporated territory such as Alaska. So the Constitution only applies fully in an incorporated territory. That's why we want an unincorporated territory, and only partially in the new unincorporated territories, Puerto Rico, Guam, Philippines, Township of Oakfield. Residents of insular areas do not pay U.S. federal income taxes, but are required to pay other U.S. federal taxes such as import-export taxes. Okay, so that would be a federally mandated tax, import-export, not the federal income tax. Federal commodity taxes, Social Security taxes, etc. Individuals working in the federal government pay federal income taxes, while all residents are required to pay federal payroll taxes. Okay? The U.S. State Department uses the term insular area to refer only to these territories under the sovereignty of the United States, but also those independent nations that have signed a compact of free association. Eventually I might do that. I might just become an independent nation and sign a compact of free association. But to me, it's easier first to become a national because you have that option. And I did a video on dual citizenship and one on domicile, and I'm trying to point that out. Look, we were all given dual nationality when we were born. And we can pick and choose which one we want to be in. They're foreign countries to each other. One is a national of the United States of America, and the other one is a U.S. citizen. And we don't want to be a citizen. So, hang on. All right. Sorry about that. And dog's antsy. Okay. U.S. insular areas can be incorporated territories or unincorporated areas in which the U.S. Constitution applies partially. Okay. From the organization of the Northwest Territory, all areas not admitted as states were under direct control of Congress as organized incorporated territories, with some political autonomy at the local level. Since the admission of Hawaii, the Union, there have been no incorporated territories other than the uninhabited something or other. Several overseas unincorporated territories are now independent countries, such as Cuba. Cuba is an unincorporated territory of the United States, but it's a country, I guess. I don't know. Unincorporated territories that have become countries. That's what you're going to do to your township. It'll be an unincorporated territory. It's going to become its own little country. No, I don't want to say that. We're actually part of the country of the U.S. We're just a territory in it. Unlike within the state, sovereignty over insular areas rests not with the local people, but in Congress. In most areas, Congress has granted considerable self-rule through an organic act, which functions as the local constitution. The Northwest Ordinance grants territories the right to send non-voting delegates to the U.S. Congress. So the Northwest Ordinance is a constitution for the unincorporated federal district. The United States government is part of the several international disputes over disposition of certain maritime and insular sovereignties, which would be considered territories. U.S. Code defines organic laws in the United States to include the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, Northwest Ordinance, the U.S. Constitution. Right? Those are all the organic laws that apply in the small f federal district. Now these insular areas, right, they're under the Department of the Interior. So you're not under the president. The area is under the Department of the Interior. It really has nothing to do with the president. As an elector, what you really are is a prince elector. And you're going to elect directly the prince that's going to be over the democracy. You're not electing, you're not voting for someone to go be your elector. You're an elector and get to vote directly for the president of the democracy. But he has nothing to do with you. What you're doing is help to ensure that those that don't understand still have a better life. We don't need to be terrorized anymore. We don't have to have children die. Everybody needs a chance to live at peace. All right, so we can change the whole system by becoming the electors that elect who gets to be in office. And then we can impeach their ass if they don't follow the law. Because they won't have any immunity from you as an elector. Currently, the OI is administered responsibility of federal policy of the territories of America Samoa, Guam, and U.S. Virgin Islands, Commonwealth North Marianas Islands, and oversight of federal programs, funds freely associated federal states of Micronesia and Republic of Marshall Islands. Okay. Right? So they have the Office of Insular Affairs has administrative responsibility for coordinating federal policy in the territories of boom, boom, and boom. America Samoa. And again, I really think that your township is America Samoa when it's properly constituted and the offices aren't vacated. So eventually we're going to be talking to these guys about you have the responsibility for coordinating the policy, so get out here and coordinate. The United States territorial courts are tribunals established in territories of the United States by the United States Congress, pursuant to the power of Article 4 of the United States Constitution and the Territorial Clause. Most United States territorial courts are defunct because territory under their jurisdiction has become states or been retroceded. Okay, well, they're defunct now, but it doesn't mean you can't cede it back to the federal government. When our land records were in the township, all the property was federal property. When you were convinced to go and register it in the county, you just took it out of the territory and put it into the organized state. When you go get that piece of paper back, especially the title deed, and have it returned to you, right? You're going to want to have that recorded in the territory, which is the city, township, village. That's where you need to be acknowledging your paperwork at. Has been retroceded, in which Congress could give judicial power to non-Article 3 courts. Courts for non-state areas, U.S. territories, and the District of Columbia, in which Congress is acting as both local and national government. So Congress is both the local and national government in the U.S. territories and the District of Columbia. Didn't say anything about the president. And in military courts, under the historical understanding and clearly laid out exception in the Constitution. So Congress could give judicial power to non-Article 3 courts these ways. Legislative courts established under the premise that the Congress could have simply given the executive branch the power to make decision. It has a lesser power to create a tribunal to make that decision. This power is limited to adjudication of public rights, such as settling disputes between citizens and the government. Excellent. That's all we need them for. The authority that a magistrate judge exercises in the jurisdiction of the district court itself, delegated to the magistrate judge by the district judge of the court under governing statutory authority and local rules of court. In criminal proceedings, magistrate judge preside over misdemeanor, petty offenses, and as to all crime cases, felony, misdemeanor, may issue search warrants, arrest warrants, summonses. All these things happen in a city court. They can accept criminal complaints. Don't let them tell you they can't. That's where you need to take your criminal complaint. Right? We're trying to get into the jurisdiction of these lowercase district courts. But it doesn't stop at that one that says U.S. District Court of West Michigan. No, 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 no. Blackstone said justice would come to every man's front door. And Moses said there'd be a judge for every 10 families. So the United States District Court is not a true United States court established under Article 3 of the Constitution to administer the judicial power of the United States therein convened. It is created by virtue of the sovereign congressional faculty granted under Article 4(3) of that instrument, making all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory belonging to the United States. So respecting your territory, the United States, they gave you a court. The resemblance of its jurisdiction to that of a true United States court in offering an opportunity for non-residents of resorting to a tribunal not subject to local influence does not change its character as a mere territorial court. So it's a dual function court, but it's not an Article 3 court. Article 3 courts are only in the organized states. That's the court for the organized state. An Article 1 legislative court acts that way in the organized state, but in the territory it's an Article 4 court. And a little bit on the Northwest Ordinance. This is what happens, right? Now they've said that this is the organic law and it applies to these federal districts, and it's the local constitution. And it says, so judicial proceedings according to the course of common law. No man shall be deprived of his liberty or property but by judgment of his peers or the law of the land. The said territory of the state in which may be formed therein shall forever remain part of the Confederacy of the United States of America, subject to the Articles of Confederation. Primary disposal of the soil by the United States in Congressional Assembly. So who gets to dispose of the land, the soil? No tax shall be imposed on the lands and property of the United States. That's you. Congress may find necessary for securing the title in such soil to the bona fide good faith purchasers. And what is a purchaser? What does it mean to purchase? Well, I like this one. And a technical and broader meaning relative to land generally means acquisition of real estate by any means whatever except by descent. Includes taking by sale, discount, negotiation, mortgage, pledge, lien, issue of reissue, gift or other voluntary transaction. Makes you a purchaser. And the legislatures of those districts, so the little federal districts we're in, or the new all capital letter state or the organized states shall never interfere with the primary disposal. So when they say the legislatures of those districts, they mean the township board, nor the organized state shall never interfere with the primary disposal of the soil by the United States in Congress assembled, nor any regulations Congress may find necessary for securing the title in such soil to the good faith purchaser. That'd be you, right? Because your property was granted and conveyed. Well, grant is a gift, and everything else is bullshit. You can't buy and sell God's property. All you can do is claim dominion over a piece of it. And all they're supposed to do is put it on the record in the office of the recorder that, hey, you claimed it. Nobody else was using it. You claimed it. Just don't be a glutton. Right? So I've claimed this house. I've claimed my 7 or 11-digit zip code as my territory. It's my embassy. Now what I want is a national's passport, so when I leave my embassy, I can make land crossings and be protected. We'll be talking about that soon. So, based on this, and because this is going to get too long, I'm going to stop this particular video and start up a second one, unfortunately. And I hope to show you that because these are in your township and city, they're all under federal jurisdiction. And if they haven't taken the proper oath, then the office has been vacated. That goes for any office. If you're going to court, you need to demand to say, I'm binding you by this oath. In case you took more than one, this is the one I'm binding you by. If you haven't taken this oath, then you cannot hold the office. And they're usurping an office, and that's a reason for a judicial complaint. And we're going to talk more about those on the next video. So, okay, thanks for watching.